Hey now, Copes, it's that time of the show where we have been reaching out to some of the superstars of the basketball world. But today, I don't know what's going on with the people that put this show together, but they must have some very incriminating photos of our next guest, because why he'd want to come and spend some time with us little rookies here in our little Wayne's World production, we have got absolute Australian comedy royalty. And it doesn't. In fact, I'm not sure it gets much bigger than this. Nazeem Hussein, he was on. I've recently saw him on the I'm a Celebrity Getting Out of Here, Coach. But for some reason, like I said, I don't know how this has happened.
He must not have anything to do. He must not have anything to do.
The power of our podcast. Somehow he's joining us, and he joins us here on this week's show. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh my God, I've never had an intro like that in my life. But I appreciate it. My head's huge now. I watch you. I don't want to make you feel old, but I grew up loving you guys, so it's a bit bizarre for me. Actually, when they asked me, they said, "Do you want to do this podcast?" I was like, "Oh my God, yes!" And then they already accepted before I clarified that I don't know anything about basketball. So.
Well, let me tell you, we've been nervous. We've been counting down the sleeps. We've done something that we've never ever done before in the history of the show, and actually done a bit of research. So
and you've called his name 50 times to make sure you got it right.
We've been practicing your name so we don't bugger that up. But
how come your Zoom name is not Gaze? This is the first time I've seen. Is this
this is
secret?
This is how it is. What it is, and you'll probably pick this up as we go through this conversation, is Lanard and I are really, really cheap. And what's happened is that people that put this podcast together, they've got a fully paid Zoom account. So rather than
cuts out.
We thought we'd better use their account rather than our own account.
Okay.
So that's how it works. But hey, why don't you start off, because you said before we went hit record that you're not necessarily a great basketball fan, but do you follow the NBA? Do you follow the NBL?
You know what? I wish I did. It's one of those sports. Every time I watch a game of basketball, I really get into it, and it's exciting. And I'm like, "Who's that guy?" And my friend's like, "That's LeBron James, you idiots." I'm like, "Oh, okay, he's really good." They're so fast, and oh my God, they jump really. Like I'm always blown away, just like I am with several other sports. But basketball is very exciting to me. But I don't know why, I've never really committed to watching sports properly. I've just, it's a lot of time each week. And, you've got to know the names of people and positions and the rules. I've got to remember the rules of the society that I live in before I can think about another kind of manufactured activity. So I don't know. I'm abnormal in that way.
Yeah. So growing up though, what did you want to be though? I mean, did you want to be a comedian? You sitting there?
No. I wanted to be I genuinely wanted to be a pilot. This is not a joke. Yes. Until, oh my gosh, here comes a dark corner. Until 9/11 happened, and then the next day I was like, nah, all right, I'll just become a lawyer. So I changed careers because I thought, who the hell is going to hire a guy with the surname Hussain, middle name Muhammad? So, it was only until this year I thought I might actually go learn how to fly a plane. But
so how'd you get into comedy though?
I was just mucking around on the side. I was doing community work with young Muslims, and I used to go to prisons and just talk to people. And as you'll know, to talk to young people, you've got to make them laugh. Otherwise, they just lose. They just don't care. They
lose focus straight away.
Yeah, lose focus. So I sort of used to just muck around. It was community work, and then that sort of, and then I started doing it as a bit of a hobby. I did some stand-up gigs, and it was just a hobby that I was doing on the side that just got busier and busier. And then at one point, when I was working in an office job after doing my uni, it was actually it got too busy. I had to take 6 months off. I thought I'll do this TV show, and then I'll come back. But I just never came back. So
with comedy, and it's changed in relatively recent times. You're still a very young man, but if you go back to when we were a lot younger and we'd go to a comedy show, some of the topics they could talk about, I mean, it's you look back on it now and go, geez, how they ever get away with that?
Oh my,
how do you confront some of the topical issues these days? Is it very hard to come up with?
It is and it isn't, because I grew up watching Eddie Murphy, Raw and Delirious, memorized his stuff. That sort of era of comedian was, I idolized them growing up. But now when you think about it, you're like, oh, actually, that's pretty homophobic and sexist,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. So it's but it's sort of like a reflection of the times. I think like comedians are just people, you know, who are, you know, have the same sense of humor as the audience in a way, but are just probably better at telling the stories or making the jokes. So you sort of move with the times, you know, you're not really looking to the audience to see what makes them laugh. You sort of are a product of the culture that you grow up in. So it's not really like a challenge for me to think about what are the rules, because it's just what, you know, this is just life for all of us. We're just used to it.
Yeah.
I've always wondered myself, have you ever been on stage and bombed? What happens? Tell me.
It happens. In fact,
Hey, Copes, you can. I don't know. I'm really curious. But Copes, just think of those nights when you went 1 for 22 and you couldn't throw it in.
I still got it up, brother. I still got it up. Don't worry about that.
Wait, what does 1 for 22 mean? For
mean,
everybody?
He's taken 22 shots and only made one.
What the hell? How did you miss 21
Come on, bro, we
times?
ain't talking about me. We're talking about you now.
Wait, did you seriously miss 21 times? And you were paid to... Anyway.
This is exaggerating.
Now, look, I've had those 1 for 22 nights as well. It's horrible. And in fact, if you don't have a bad night, you don't appreciate the good nights. But the bad nights feel so bad. And I just have to, like, do a gig straight after it so that I feel like a comedian again. Because otherwise, if you're just left with that as the last gig you did, it's the worst. You've got to shake it off.
You lose your confidence? You lose your confidence?
Yeah, you actually start to doubt whether you're funny. So it's I have to kind of like, but that's why, you know, young comedians who, you know, start often will stop doing comedy after their first bad gig, or they'll have a great gig and then they'll think, I don't need to really work or think about this anymore because I've clearly got this natural ability. And then they, you know, and then they run up against a bad gig. Sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes it's the audience's fault. Sometimes it's just a mix of things. I did one gig in, oh my God, this is horrible, in Edinburgh. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yes. Is that the Just for Laughs one? Is that the...
Well, no, Just for Laughs in Montreal, but similar. Okay. Like it's basically this like free. It's a huge arts festival, like where everyone from like circus performers to comedians to poets. It's just huge, and it takes over the whole city. So it's, I think, during the year, normally Edinburgh's about 500,000 people. That's the population. But during the Fringe, I believe it swells to like 1.5 million.
Wow.
So like 1 million people come in and out every week. And so the people that live there, it's just, you know, a lot of people love it, but then some people just don't. They hate the idea of these strangers coming in and taking over. So there's this one gig each night called Late and Live, which historically was for the locals to come and take out their freaking frustrations at the performers.
Oh dear.
And it's like a bear pack. Like you just, and I didn't know, there's all these stories of comedians going up there, getting booed off before they get to the mic, people throwing stuff. Some guy famously was telling jokes, people were booing and shouting at him. So he got a beer bottle, smashed it over his head and glassed himself in the face. And then that's what turned the crowd. Like it's that sort of vibe. Anyway, I don't know how the hell I got booked on this, but someone, I think it was my manager, booked me on this gig, and she was like, "Oh, you got Late and Live," and a lot of people were like, "Oh, Nazeem, you're doing Late and Live," and I thought, "Oh, this must mean I'm good or something." I didn't know. I was quite excited. I was maybe like 8 years ago, and so I was, you know, backstage. I could hear the crowd quite rowdy. I thought, "Oh, this will be high energy crowd. They'll laugh."
Yeah.
So I got onto the stage, and I started trying to tell my joke. About 5 seconds in, some woman just stands up, and she goes, "Oh, just tell us a fucking joke, would you?" And then some other guy stands up and goes, "Yeah, just be funny." And they all started yelling and shouting. And I just yelled my punchline over the top and just ran off stage. And it was horrible. I was so scared. I thought, they're all going to try to kill me. I thought that they wanted to kill me. So I asked my friend if I could wear his jumper so that they wouldn't recognize me. I was like, and it stuck with me. It was traumatic.
Is it and when you're going over there and you're in a different country, and I assume that a lot of it is Australian type humour or the language, and is it? Do you have to really change a lot of what you're saying because of your? Yeah.
Oh my God, it's at least with like English speaking countries, you know, like the UK or America, Canada, whatever. Like we all sort of get a sense for what it makes us laugh, you know, because you watch American comedy, you watch British comedians, so you sort of figure it out in a way. And you get it when you're walking around the street talking to people. Yeah, you can see what makes them laugh. So on stage, it's not much different. But I did some shows in China. Someone said to my manager and to me, "Oh, hey, does Nazeem want to do some shows? 6 shows in China? Yeah, they will put them there. It's just half an hour a night." And I thought, I've never been to like mainland China. This would be a great holiday, and I do some gigs. bit of money, and I can write something while I'm there. So I went there, and first show was in a place called Chengdu, which is famous for pandas.
Yeah.
Beautiful place, really nice. It's very Chinese. It's not, So I was backstage at this gig, and I looked out at the audience. I was like, how the hell do they get like 100 people in there? Anyway, so I was like, going through my notes, and some guy comes up to me just as I'm about to get on stage, and he goes, have a great gig. Just thought I'd let you know, none of these people really speak English very well. They're learning English, and they don't understand the Australian accent. So don't speak in an Australian accent. Have a good gig. I was like, what the hell? So I went on stage, and I was like, hello, everyone. How are you? And I start trying to do a joke. And like when you talk, you make rhetorical questions. You ask, don't you hate it when, you start a sentence like that? And they will literally answer these questions. So people will put their hands up and then answer to the crowd. So they'd face the audience and say to everybody, I remember one time and then I was like facilitating an English language course or something. It was bizarre.
You opened for Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart, is that right? Or
well, I got to open for Dave Chappelle when he came to Australia, and
were you nervous? Were you nervous? You get nervous about that?
Dude, Dave Chappelle is like my comedy idol. He's it was very, very exciting. But yeah, I don't even know if he watched the shows in Australia. I think he saw a couple of spots, but just the idea that he was there and he'd approved me was just unbelievable.
He has to hear you first before you open for him. He has to know what you.
I believe so. I think there were clips that were sent around. I'm not sure. I like to tell myself that that's what happened. But there was a few of us, myself, Ronnie Cheng, Matt O'Kine. And then actually I went to New York. So that was in 2013. New York, I got to open for him again. And I actually didn't realize I was going to open for him. I was in the queue. I got to the front, and then his agent said, this is the opening act. Just, get him backstage, put a wrist thing on him, like a wristband. So I was backstage. I thought, this is how nice. He remembers me. I get to meet Dave again. So it was backstage. The lights were dim. It was like, chips and drinks and all sorts of stuff. So I turned the lights up because it's pretty dark. And then Dave comes in, turns the lights down, and then he's like, hey, Nas, just do 15 to 20 minutes. And I was like, what? And then the show started in 5 minutes. So I had no time to stress about it. Went straight on stage, did the jokes, and I swear, I actually thought, the crowd was so great. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, I'm killing it. This is probably too good. I don't know if this is disrespectful to Dave, who's coming on after me. He might, I'm supposed to be shitter than he is. And, I've got to set the bar low. In my brain, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, I finished. They were round of applauding me. Dave comes on and just takes it to another level. And I was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. What kind of a cocky idiot am I? But anyway, so I did the gig, and, people were hanging out with him afterwards. He was rehearsing for Saturday Night Live. He was just running through his material that night. So hundreds of people went to the show, and there's about 50 people that stuck around, including people from the Wu-Tang Clan and all sorts of famous faces. So people were just flocking towards him and hogging his time. At about 3 a.m., he breaks free from these guys, and he comes up to me, and he puts his arm around me, and he tells everybody, he goes, hey, everybody, this is Nas. Every time I come to Australia, I always get Nas to open for me. And I was like, thanks, Dave. I've only opened for him once. He's come once. But then he remembered all these things from back in 2013. He goes, how's your boy Matt doing? So Matt O'Kine. And I was like, Matt's doing good. And he goes, and Ronnie, he's doing the Daily Show. I said, yeah. And he goes, and you're doing this Netflix thing. I said, yep. And he goes, congratulations, well done. Wow. Keep doing what you do. He just remembered all this stuff, which is...
Maybe it's the weed that he smokes. He smokes a lot of weed, bro.
There was an auto cue behind me. He was reading. But I was legendary.
Well, it sounds like there's a bit of a brotherhood amongst the comedians. Do you look, is there trends that you go on, like in sport? We're playing basketball, and you'll see a successful team, and you'll try and emulate some of their systems and what they do. Is it similar like that in the comedy? Like there's certain topics, well, this is hot, we've got to nail this.
It's kind of like, there's definitely a camaraderie in comedy. Backstage at comedy gigs all around the world, at every comedy. In fact, if you're a comedian and you're traveling, you go to a comedy room, and you suddenly feel like you're at home. Backstage with other comedians, you all kind of get each other. But there's also this sort of it doesn't matter how successful you are, you're still hanging out backstage in either a kitchen or some disgust. Comedy backstages are not as glamorous as music, probably not as nice as basketball change rooms. But they're sharing notes. In Australia, Hughesy will be backstage with someone that's done 3 gigs, and giving each other tips on, oh, that joke was funny, or maybe try this. Or
really?
try that.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it happens in, say, music. You know, you wouldn't have like Beyonce backstage with some random that's just started singing, like, but it is like that in comedy. So, but also, you know, like there is that criticism that comedians are also, as a community, a bit defensive. So someone might criticize for, you know, someone might say something horribly offensive, and then comedians will just not say anything or just stand in line and defend that, because there's this sort of, we've got this mentality that, well, we back each other at all costs. So there is that defensiveness too. But, you know, like, I think by and large, a pretty nice community.
Wow.
And it's a community of whack. Like, we're all weird. Like, we're all misfits. And it's sort of like, it's a one community where, like, we all make sense to each other.
Wow. Now, you're on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Tell me about that experience.
Ooh, yes.
Look, man, I needed the money, okay?
They pay all right? Is it good money?
They pay. Listen, if they come knocking, I wouldn't not answer the door. But it was crazy. I was there for 46 days.
Yeah.
I lost 10.2 kilos.
Wow.
And had to eat all sorts of horrible stuff. I ate ostrich anus, goat's testicles.
Yeah.
In prison. At least in prison, when you're eating anus, you know the guy's name. I'm joking. You can edit that out if you like. I'm fine with that. But no, it was good fun. Like, it felt like a school camp where everything's looked after. You know, you just need to wake up and do the things. You don't have to worry about paying bills. And as a comedian, I think it felt all right, because we're professional clowns, so you can't really humiliate us. Yeah. But if you maybe, you know, if you're a serious news reporter or a model or an actor or an actress, like when you get covered in elephant shit, that can feel a little humiliating.
Well, what's your breaking point? What would you not have done on that show, though?
You know what? I was prepared to do anything, because I thought nothing is going to kill me, because they're not going to do anything that kills someone on television.
Oh,
that's going to be bad for their ratings. Oh, it might be good for their ratings.
Good show. Oh, good app. How like Hussain, but gee, you're a great app.
Exactly. How do you top a death? But yeah, I mean, maybe they vote for. But it was But yeah, I sort of just thought. Actually, I thought. You know, you can see yourself, you feel yourself losing your mind a little bit. But every time I'd see someone else lose their mind, that would remind me not to lose my mind. So people were just fighting over socks, and then immediately that reminded me that we're on a television show. And then you can see the camera, so they're not hiding. But sometimes you just get caught up in the smallness of the world, which I think, you know, in a way, right now in Melbourne anyway, being in lockdown, the world is tiny, and you start to lose your mind a little bit. We have this cabin fever going on. So
how authentic is it though? Because we've seen now. I know they're different shows, and you see, you know, the Bachelorette and all that, and you see these contestants come up and said, "Oh, they ripped me off. The editing killed me." No, that's not how it really happened. When you saw how it was edited and eventually went to air, is it authentic?
I think, so I obviously asked these questions beforehand, because, you know, you don't want to just go in there. And also being a Muslim, I was like, oh no, I don't want to be on this reality show where they're like, ooh, the Muslim guy is going to, you know, like where they take you out of context. But what they sort of told to me, and what I felt was true, was that, okay, if you are mean today, and they present you as mean on television, say tomorrow they also have to present you as mean for that story to be consistent. So they have to find enough footage for you to be mean the next day. And then the next day they have to continue that. So to create a fake narrative, you've got to be consistently giving them that. So they can't actually manufacture that even if they wanted to. So ultimately, even if they wanted to be sinister, it's kind of difficult for them to be. Yeah. So I found that I felt like it was a fairly authentic representation, even though they obviously take the most animated. But you know, definitely the first week, I was in there for 6.5 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever it was. And the first week, everyone is conscious of the cameras. Like the way you talk to each other, it's, you know, your words are carefully crafted, and you felt like they were on Question Time in Parliament. But by the end of the first week, it's not that you forget about the cameras. It's just that you have no more energy to pretend anymore. So everyone just starts farting out loud and saying what they think and arguing, and you just have to be yourself. You can't but be yourself. So I think that's when I was like, oh, this is quite interesting psychologically. Now we're all, because I actually found the whole thing a very interesting psychological. It's like we were all harmonious, and then they do one little thing, like bring in a rule board, like chores, divvy up chores, guys, that's it. And then suddenly there's chaos. And then they take that out, it goes back to harmony. Suddenly, there's a new person that comes in. Everyone goes crazy. Then they take someone out and it goes back to, like, it was very, very interesting how simply we are manipulated.
Yeah. No, of course. Hey, what about with your when you're putting together a show, what are do you have any no-go zones? And also, how do you deal, like a lot of people get humour out of Muslims and the stereotypes that are associated with Muslims. Is that okay? Are you comfortable with that type of humour?
Look, it's sort of like recently I've been sent this clip by some comedian who I haven't really heard of in Australia, but I think he's got a big following online and therefore he's got a big following in real life. But I haven't seen him around at the circuit. But he was saying he was making a joke about Christchurch and it didn't feel very tasteful, But basically, I think if you're part of the community of comedians, we tend to not police, but you sort of get the vibe. The rule is generally punch up, not down. So don't make fun of people that are already belittled. Like, it just doesn't feel useful. Right. Like, you wouldn't do that out and about. You wouldn't just walk past the homeless person and just make fun of them. But, because it doesn't feel nice. Yeah. But even if you don't really think about it immediately when you're writing it, you'll figure it out on stage. If you say something that feels a little mean, the audience will let you know. You just get that, they'll pull back a little bit. And, I think the audience tends to police comedians just as much as we police each other. But police sounds like a bad word, but I think it's just generally the rule is, you're up there to make people feel better about themselves. And also art tends to be better, I think, when stand up, came out of America as an art of protest, people who didn't have a platform, whether it was before rallies during the civil rights movement, that get on stage, make jokes about police brutality, about the state, and then to get people aroused and excited, kind of ready to stand up for what's right. So that's kind of where it all came from. The targets were always the correct targets. It was never really the other way around. So when I see comedians kind of making fun of poor people or homophobic jokes, it's just like it goes against the entire thing of comedy. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's a little rumor going around that you spent some time with Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, yes.
Dude, you've been Googling well.
No, brother, I got all the gossip out. Tell me about what's happening.
Oh, this was so weird. I can't believe it even happened. Obviously you guys are big fans of the show The Masked Singer.
Yes.
Are you on it? I bet one of you. No, okay. Oh, really? Just send them an email. I'm sure they'll get you on. But she was last year. I was a guest judge for an episode, and Lindsay Lohan was there, and it was I remember at one point just between takes, Husey took a selfie of all of us, and then Lindsay was next to him, and he goes, "Oh, I'll send you the photo if you want, Lindsay. What's your number?" And then she gave him his number, and I was like, "Smooth, Husey. That was really smooth." He goes, "No. She wanted my number anyway," and I was like, "Whatever." Anyway, fast forward. We were in the green room. They're walking back to set, and Lindsay was telling me about a charity, and I said, "Oh, that sounds really cool." And she goes, "Yeah, I'll tell you all about it if you like. What's your number?" And no, she gave me her number, and then I put it down. I was like, "Oh my God, Husey, I got her number." Yeah. Anyway, so later on, the show had finished, and Husey and I, we were both in the bar. I was having a lemonade, and Husey was having like a soda. He doesn't drink. I don't drink. So I was like, "Hey, why don't we just text Lindsay on WhatsApp and just see if she wants to join us?" So I said, "Hey, Lindsay, Husey and I are just down in the lobby getting a drink. If you want to come join us, let me know." And then I don't know if you know how WhatsApp goes, but she came online, 2 blue ticks, read it. I was like, "Oh my God, she's read it." And then we're waiting, she's typing, and she goes, "Sure, come to my hotel room." And then I was like, "What?" And then Husey's like, "Oh my God, let's go now." I was like, "We can't just go straight away. This is very desperate." So he's like, "Let's go now." He paid for the drinks. And I was like, "Whoa, we've got to reply to this." So I said, "Sure, shall we bring a plate?" And I think I wasn't trying to be funny, because I think she thought drugs. And she was like, "No, just a bottle of wine." Anyway, so we got to the hotel lobby, and she was a different hotel, a fancy, like a special room. You had to give him a code. And then he was like, "What's a really good bottle of wine?" Like, he hasn't drunk in 26 years. And then, this one. Well, it was quite expensive. Husey just paid for it, and then so we're like, he goes, "Well, Naz, you got to drink, because I can't. Well, one of us has to drink." I go, "I don't drink. I'm Muslim." And he goes, "Well, I don't drink. I haven't drank in 26 years. I'm an alcoholic. So it's better that you drink." I'm like, "I'm not going to drink." Anyway, so we get up to the room. It's me, Husey, Lindsay, some other woman that works with her, and like some Hollywood type. And so we were just there, the four of us, and Lindsay was having a drink, and then he just pours me a glass of wine. He goes, "Here you go, Naz." And I was like, "Nah, all good, thanks, Susie. I'm driving." And it passed back to him. He goes, "Nah, I'm good." And the glass of wine just kept going back and forth. She had no idea what was going on between the two of us. We were freaking out, just trying to look cool in front of her. But since then, like, we've actually been in touch. Randomly, I get FaceTime calls from her.
Really?
Like, yeah, she's just. They live in a different world. Like, I remember I just sent her a message, and then she just FaceTimes me from New York. It was like 3 a.m. in the morning in Australia. Wow. I was just like, "Hey, Lindsay, what's going on?" And she's like, "Hey, how's it going? I miss Australia." Just normal chat. But I think she can just call who she likes, whatever time it is. It's just a bizarre life.
Great.
That's great. Yeah. Now, outside of myself and Andrew Gaze, who are the most famous people you've ever met?
Lindsay Lohan is definitely number one. I met the Queen once, and her husband, Prince Philip. The old guy. He's notoriously. He says some pretty messed up things.
He's pretty funny too, though. Isn't he?
Well, he's not the greatest driver either.
Isn't he?
Anymore.
What do you mean? Did he crash?
Didn't he crash?
That was a while back, though. He's 99 or something. We'll give him a break.
He handed in his license.
Yeah, well, I've seen the Queen drive. There's a footage of her driving around in like a Volvo or something. But I got to meet them. They came to Melbourne, and I was there because I did something in some community work, and so I was, basically met them, and she was nice. But then she said, "Oh, congratulations," and I said, "Thank you very much, Your Honour." I called her Your Honour instead of Your Majesty.
Your Highness.
Like she's a judge.
That's funny.
It was so weird. Yeah. And then he started talking to me, and then there's a girl next to me. She was like the year 12 top achiever. She got the highest score in the state, and she's Asian, obviously. And he goes, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Am I being where am I from?" But he meant like, I was like, "Oh, my parents are from Sri Lanka, but I was born in Australia." He goes, No, are you from an organisation? I said, "Oh, well, I guess I'm from the Islamic Council of Victoria." And he looks at me and he goes, "The Islamic Council?" And he turns to the Asian girl and he goes, "Where are you from? The Buddhist Council?"
Oh, no.
and
really?
And the Queen was standing there like, "Oh, I've just heard 100 of." Like, if you Google his name, you'll see top 100 most racist jokes that. Mate, like he goes to places, he'll speak to some African leader and he goes, are you wearing pajamas? He asked Aboriginal people if they throw spears at each other still. Like, he's kind of crazy. He's nuts. Anyway, so that story spread around the room. By the time I left, there was the waiting media that weren't allowed in. They all came up to me and they're like, Nazeem, what did the Prince say to you? I heard it's just saying racist. And I hadn't told my friends that I was going to go meet the Queen. Sell out because they were protesting outside the other entrance. So I didn't let anybody. So I just basically ran back to work. I didn't do the interviews, but it was it was a very weird encounter.
Yeah. Hey, now I'd imagine when you're trying to put your shows together and you're trying to come up with some new topics, you can be a little annoying because you're trying things out and you're a bit of tomfoolery and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But I reckon you cross the line when you start to bring your mum into the joking world. And I saw on social media that somehow or other you were convincing your mum that you had some sort of tiger. Now, can you fill us in on where you draw the line that your mum's even good fodder?
I still don't even know like how she still loves me. I've been too humble. Like, basically, I don't know if I was bored. Lockdown, by the way. So this is an activity that kept me sane for half an hour. If you Google cat, shark, lion, tiger, if you scroll down on Google, there's this thing that says view in 3D, and you click on that with your iPhone or any smartphone, and it comes up in your camera, basically a augmented reality version of that animal. So it looks like it's in your house. Yes, it looks like there's a tiger walking in your house and you can record.
Really?
Yes, I basically sent my mum a video saying, "Hey, Mum," I said, "Hey, Mum, I've got a tiger. I just got a new tiger." And she was like, "What? You got a tiger in your house?" I said, "Yeah, don't worry. Like, I've YouTubed how to look after it. It's fine." And she's like, "Yes, but he might keep him locked in the toilet. He might try to bite you in your sleep, these bloody rascal tigers." And she really just lost her mind thinking that let me find this. She sent me a voice message and she was
that's crazy.
Losing her mind. But yeah, she's certainly not she's not very critical when it comes to things like, she just believes everything I say, basically. Hang on.
Are they here in Australia? Are your parents here in Australia?
My mum is here in Australia. He's a voice message.
He might even bite you, so you be very careful. Why you take this chance of bringing tigers into the house? No, I don't know what to tell you, Nazeem. Okay, just get into the shit, lock him in the toilet. That's all.
Anyway, so she basically sent me about 100 of these messages,
My God!
just basically telling me to lock a tiger in the toilet. I said, I've run out of minced meat. Can you drop some off? And but no, she comes to most of my shows actually.
Really?
The Melbourne Comedy Festival was like 26 shows you do back to back, and she comes to about 15 of them, and
Wow.
just makes a big entrance as well. So we'll walk in and in a big sari or something, and you know, if I reference her, she'll stand up and bow to the audience.
That's amazing.
That's great.
So you know,
Yeah. Hey, we really appreciate your time today. We could go on here for hours, but
we could. I've been
we-
talking your ears off.
we know our limitations when it comes to absolute superstardom.
Oh, shut up!
And we know we have exceeded our limitations.
Oh God.
We got
But,
the guru. We got the guru on the
we are going to new standards. Listen, there are dozens. Our audience, there are dozens of the people that watch the show. So they are going to be absolutely thrilled that we can bring this caliber of superstar.
Well, I'm so glad to be speaking to your families.
That's it, mate. I tell you what you are good at, because I've got 4 kids, 26 and under. My eldest is married. But when I told them that we had you on the show, they
were
I
like,
mean,
you're
the
right.
greatest
all the
respect
young people
I've
know
got.
you, man. All the young people know you, man.
You're a very, very popular, famous
Oh,
man.
mate, you guys are. Well, just wait till you see how many likes I get for posting this on
Hey, man.
social media. Guys, let me send you my. You've got my email address already, don't you, or my number, or whatever. So if you want to, I'll put it in here.
We want to send it. We want to be able to send it to
Yeah,
you.
we
So-
will. You'll
I'll
be
put it
able
in
to
the chat.
see this.
Oh, there it is. Yep, okay, it's on there.
But we're absolutely humbled that you want to join us and spend
Nah, man, I'm so excited. I was like, I was showing my friend the other day my email replying,
Yep.
like saying, my manager was like, would you like to do this? I said, yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then, and I was like, oh, by the way, I don't know anything about basketball.
No, we just want to have some fun, and we're in lockdown, so we're trying to we entertain ourselves, and a few people have jumped on board, so they're going to be rapt to hear your stories and learn a little bit about you. Like I said, there's so much more we could have got stuck into, but
Oh, no. Just
We,
send me the link and I'll give it a plug as well.
you're a good man. Hey, Nazeem,
Take it
well,
easy,
anything
guys.
we can do to help you out, not sure what it will be, but
No,
hey,
I'll hassle you, yeah.
before we go, do you have when it comes to sport, do you have any favourite team? Do you have any, whether it's AFL?
Yeah, AFL, I'll go for the Demons. You know, I don't know, because my dad did, you know.
Yeah, my dad's a Demon as well. He
So who are you?
I'm Hawthorn, so.
Oh,
I'm
really?
sports.
Coach?
Both of you guys suck. We are the Navy Blues.
Oh, God. But you guys suck as well, don't you? Actually, you actually suck. Deep. I go for, cricket I watch. I don't know. This is so un-Australian, but I go for Sri Lanka in the cricket. I'm Sri Lanka background.
No,
I know.
that's okay.
Yeah. Sri Lanka. I don't know. Tennis, I watch. Like, basketball is like, my friends are like, you've got a basketballer's personality of all the sports. Like Nick Kyrgios, I really like him because I think Waleed was saying it one day. I can't remember where, but he goes, Kyrgios is like, controversial in the tennis world because his personality doesn't fit tennis, but he's a basketball guy in the wrong sport. Like,
that's right.
He loves basketball. He absolutely
We
loves
might
it.
try to get him on the show. Let's get him on the show.
Get him on. He'd be great.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
All right, guys.
Hey, you're a champion, my friend.
This has been a No Filter Media production.
Say what you want.